Good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News with me, Shan Russell, and these are the headlines that we're tracking right now. President Pranab Mukherjee makes another appeal for unity and tolerance, urges the nation to eliminate the divisive forces in society. 6 writers' organizations to hold protest conference in Delhi. The event comes in the wake of several writers returning their prestigious national and state level awards in protest against the alleged threat to freedom of expression. 11 killed in a blast inside a bus in Pakistan's Quetta. No group has claimed responsibility so far. And at least 11 people have been killed and thousands displaced as Typhoon Koppo sweeps through northern Philippines. Heavy rains have caused floods in the region. And South African Paralympic athlete Oscar Pistorius released on parole less than a year into his sentence for killing his girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp. Our top story this morning, President Pranab Mukherjee has once again spoken out against the wave of intolerance in the country. He said humanism and pluralism should not be abandoned under any circumstance. Assimilation through receiving is a characteristic of Indian society. Our collective strength must be harnessed to resist evil powers in society. Addressing a gathering in Birbhum, the president asked if tolerance and acceptance of dissent are on the wane. He said tolerance was the backbone of the Indian civilization as it is always accepted dissent and differences. He also pointed out that the constitution accommodates all differences. The president's strong words come in the backdrop of a series of incidents, including the Shiv Sena forcing the cancellation of Ghulam Ali's concert and disrupting the talks between the cricket boards of India and Pakistan. The president had also recently made a strong appeal for maintaining the country's core values of diversity, tolerance and plurality in the backdrop of the Dadri lynching.
President has spoken. It shows the president is very much disturbed, very much concerned with the situation that is emerging in the country. Across the country, there is growing intolerance. Across the country, there is communal strife instigated by some fundamentalist organizations. I can name them. The RSS and Sangh Parivar outfits are behind all this communal strife and making the elected representatives of BJP, the ministers in Mr. Modi's government are making very provocative hate speeches and spreading communal venom against Muslim minority.
राष्ट्रपति ने बहुत ठीक कहा है और दूसरी बार कहा है, देश के जो हालात हैं, सरकार जिस तरीके से काम कर रही है, राष्ट्रपति को मजबूर होना पड़ा देश को बताने के लिए और सरकार को बताने के लिए कि 5000 साल से हमारा सिविलाइजेशन इसीलिए सर्वाइव कर रहा है कि हमारे देश के अंदर टॉलरेंस रहा है। आज कुछ ताकतें इसके विपरीत काम कर रही हैं। सरकार खामोश है और इस खामोशी ने राष्ट्रपति को मजबूर किया ये बयान देने के लिए, ये दबाव बनाने के लिए।
राष्ट्रपति ने ही उंगली नहीं उठाई, ओबामा को अमेरिका से आना पड़ा और हमें कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन यहाँ बताना पड़ा कि आप अपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को भूल गए।
In the wake of several writers returning their prestigious and state awards in protest against what they say is the threat to freedom of expression, a protest conference is being organized in the national capital. 6 writers' organizations are holding this conference. Till now, more than 50 writers from different parts of the country have returned their Sahitya Academy Awards along with State Academy Awards. Shashi Deshpande and former Academy Secretary and poet K. Sachidanandan have resigned from the General Council of the Sahitya Academy. In wake of the growing protest, the Sahitya Academy has called for a meeting of the Executive Board on the 23rd of October. Now, BJP President Amit Shah has denied any communal tension in states ruled by the party. Despite clashes in Jammu and Kashmir, Shah chose to highlight the Dadri lynching incident and writer Kalburgi's murder to shift the blame on state governments. He also took on the Nitish Kumar-led Grand Alliance in Bihar for harping on controversial issues like beef and reservation.
Facing sustained attack from opposition on recent spat of intolerance across the country, BJP President Amit Shah addressed the press on Monday to clarify his party's stand. The clarifications came a day after he summoned 5 BJP leaders, including Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar, to reportedly reprimand them from their controversial remarks on incidents like Dadri lynching and Kalburgi murder. However, on Monday, he alleged deliberate attempt by opposition to malign the party for its political agenda. He also claimed that BJP-ruled states have not suffered from such incidents recently.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी वर्तमान आरक्षण व्यवस्था की समर्थक है। इसमें किसी भी प्रकार के बदलाव का समर्थन नहीं करती है। संविधान ने दलित, आदिवासी और पिछड़े अति पिछड़ों को जो अधिकार दिया है उसको अक्षुण्ण रखने के लिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी कटिबद्ध है।
He also took on journalists who repeatedly asked him questions over RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat's comments and recent rows over Dadri lynching and beef ban. He also clarified on questions raised by Bhagwat on caste reservation. He accused Nitish Kumar and Lalu Prasad of trying to turn Bihar polls into a battle between backward caste and upper caste.
जो वहां का दादरी का वातावरण विषाक्त किया है उसके लिए बजरंग दल, विश्व हिंदू परिषद समेत दर्जनों संगठन जिम्मेदार हैं।
However, opposition parties criticized Shah's clarification. They also claimed that sensing defeat in Bihar polls, the party is in desperate mood to restore its image.
जब वो जंगल राज की बात करते हैं ना, तो पिछड़े दलितों को अपमान का बोध होता है, गरीबों को अपमान का बोध होता है। 15 वर्ष सबलीकरण के भी वर्ष थे, असमानता के व्याकरण के बदलाव की शुरुआत थी, सत्ता में भागीदारी के स्वरूप बदल गए, हिस्सेदारी की पूरी समग्र समझ बदल गई। और अमित शाह जी इस ऑडेसिटी के साथ बोलते हैं जंगल राज, वो हार का दायरा और बढ़ा रहे हैं ये कह करके।
Meanwhile, RSS claimed that Mohan Bhagwat's remark on reservation was distorted by critics to create confusion about the organization's view on the issue. The organization said that the issue should not be politicized. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In Mumbai, 10 people were arrested yesterday after Shiv Sena activists protested outside the BCCI office just before Board Chief Shashank Manohar was to meet with his Pakistani counterpart Shahryar Khan. The protest comes days after the party stopped Ghulam Ali concerts and tried to disrupt former Pakistani Foreign Minister Khurshid Mahmood Qasuri's book launch.
Shiv Sena's protests against hosting Pakistani nationals continued on Monday. This time, Pak Cricket Board Chief Shahryar Khan was its target. The Sena workers stormed the BCCI office and घेराव board president Shashank Manohar at his desk. Holding posters and shouting slogans, they protested against any proposed India-Pakistan cricket series.
कुछ भी होए, मगर पाकिस्तान के साथ जब तक पाकिस्तान अपनी गलत अमीर से दूर नहीं हटेगा, तब तक पाकिस्तान से ना बात होगी ना चीत होगी। किसी भी बात पर पाकिस्तान के साथ कोई भी संबंध नहीं रखना चाहिए।
अनुराग ठाकुर जो बीसीसीआई के सेक्रेटरी है, आप उनका भी बयान जो आया था बीच में देख लीजिए, वो भी पाकिस्तान के साथ क्रिकेट खेलने के लिए उनका विरोध रहा है। ऐसे बहुत से लोग हमारे देश में है तो प्रखर राष्ट्रभक्त है और पाकिस्तान के साथ किसी भी रिश्ते रखने के खिलाफ है। और शिवसेना ने अपनी भूमिका हमेशा कायम रखी है, चाहे सत्ता में हो या ना हो, हम कभी बदले नहीं, ना कॉम्प्रोमाइज किया है।
The protests came only days after the fiasco over Khurshid Mahmood Qasuri's book launch. Former BJP leader Sudhindra Kulkarni was smeared with black ink by Sena workers who were later praised by the party chief. Sena had earlier forced cancellation of Pak singer Ghulam Ali's concerts. The party drew flag as police arrested 10 Sena workers for the protests on Monday.
You can protest in the public places. You can protest on the TV channels, on social media. But this is not the right way to barge into someone's office and protest. I condemn the way they have protested.
Never compromise with the national interest. So jumping on the conclusion what would happen after the discussion with PCB, I think this kind of demonstration is completely uncalled for. It should not have been done. And our dialogue with Pakistan Cricket Board would continue even in worse days, when Indo-Pak relations were very bad.
Later, the board chiefs met quietly at a hotel in Mumbai and discussed a potential bilateral series. Not long after Shiv Sena protests forced them to shift the venue of the meeting from the BCCI office. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
At least 11 people have been killed in a blast on a crowded bus in Pakistan's western city of Quetta. The bomb exploded as the bus was bound for the city's suburbs, carrying dozens of passengers home from work. The bomb was probably planted on the roof of the vehicle and set off through a timed detonator. At least one child was among the dead. No group has claimed responsibility for the attack so far. On Monday, the Baluch province had seen almost a decade of separatist violence against government personnel and security forces, as well as non-Baluch ethnic groups. Security forces have in turn carried out a security crackdown that Baluch activists say has resulted in thousands of disappearances and hundreds of extrajudicial killings.
अभी तकरीबन 10 एग्जैक्टली जो है ना वो 10 कैजुअलिटीज़ हैं और 17 इंजर्ड हैं जो अभी तक हमारे पास इंफॉर्मेशन आई है। अब हम कोशिश तो कर रहे हैं, अब आगे हॉस्पिटल में भी
मैंने वो जो जिंदा था उसको मैंने जल्दी जल्दी गाड़ी में रखवाया। बाकी जितने भी डेड बॉडी बस में थे उन तमाम के सर पड़ चुके थे और फिर इस दौरान मैं ऊपर चढ़ा हूँ बस के छत के ऊपर, तो वहाँ भी यही सिचुएशन।
Let's now take a look at all the other events that are lined up for the day in the day ahead. India and Russia will seek to strengthen their strategic partnership across different sectors, including trade and energy, as both sides will hold the 21st session of the India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, Economic, Scientific, Technological and Cultural Cooperation in Moscow today. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj will co-chair the Intergovernmental Commission talks, which will be co-chaired on the Russian side by Deputy Prime Minister Dmitry Rogozin. Fresh talks to end the over 100-day impasse at FTII will be held when a delegation of the students protesting against the appointment of actor Gajendra Chauhan as Institute Chairman will meet MOS for Information and Broadcasting Rajya Singh Rathore today. The agitating students had 3 rounds of talks with the INB Ministry officials in Mumbai earlier this month. Students have been boycotting classes since the 12th of June, opposing the appointment of Chauhan, who they claim lacks credentials to head the FTII. A Delhi court is likely to pronounce its judgment in the case in which a Uber cab driver is facing trial for allegedly raping a 25-year-old woman executive in his taxi last year. Additional Session Judge Kaveri Bavija on 7th October had reserved the verdict after concluding hearing final arguments from both sides. The accused driver, Shiv Yadav, was arrested on 7 December 2014 from Mathura and is currently in judicial custody. The much-anticipated talks between BCCI President Shashank Manohar and his Pakistan counterpart Shahryar Khan on the proposed bilateral series are likely to take place in Delhi after the talks were halted by the Shiv Sena in Mumbai. The meeting was cancelled in view of the protests to the BCCI headquarters, during which hundreds of Shiv Sainiks stormed the board office and gherawed President Shashank Manohar in his office. Manohar had invited Shahryar Khan for talks on the much-awaited series scheduled in December. Now, yet another front has opened up between Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and Lieutenant Governor Najib Jung. In fact, the tussle has come to the fore when the name of retired Chief Justice for Andhra Pradesh High Court, Nisar Ahmed Kakru, was doing the rounds for the Delhi Lokayukta's post. The AAP is opposed to the candidate. Lieutenant Governor Najib Jung and Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal will be meeting today to select the candidate for the post. The Law Department of the Aam Aadmi Party government has proposed a panel of 3 names. The BJP has sought to corner the AAP government, alleging that it was delaying the appointment of the Lokayukta. The government had told the High Court in the last hearing that all steps will be taken to ensure that the Lokayukta is appointed by the end of October. Now, hours after he was granted bail in Rajkot, Hardik Patel, the face of the Patel quota agitation, was rearrested in Surat on sedition charges. The most serious charges were slapped on him for making provocative and instigative statements against policemen. Earlier in Rajkot, Patel was arrested on charges of insulting the national flag.
First arrested for insulting the national flag, now in FIR with sedition charges. 22-year-old Patel quota agitation leader Hardik Patel was allegedly caught on camera telling supporters to kill policemen rather than commit suicide for the reservation cause. Hardik Patel has alleged that his comments were misinterpreted. He has also questioned the authenticity of the videotape. But the Gujarat police say the tape has been verified and it is not doctored. Sedition is a serious, non-bailable offence.
TV 9 एक न्यूज़ चैनल है, उसके कवरेज के दरमियान कुछ ऐसी बातें कही थी जो काफ़ी प्रोवोकेटिव और इंस्टिगेटिव थी. उसमें पुलिस के खिलाफ प्रोवोकेशन किया गया था.
Hardik Patel is already under arrest in Rajkot. An FIR was filed against him for allegedly insulting the national flag. Police say they have a video of Hardik Patel which suggests that his feet touched the national flag as he jumped onto the top of a car. This happened as police blocked Patel's vehicle when he was on his way to the cricket stadium ahead of the India-South Africa ODI. He had threatened to stage a protest there.
अभी हार्दिक ने जब ये गाड़ी के ऊपर राष्ट्रीय ध्वज का भी अपमान किया है उसने, क्योंकि उसने राष्ट्रीय ध्वज की गरिमा को खराब किया है। हाथ में राष्ट्रीय ध्वज लेके और उसके बाद उसने पैरों पे भी लगाया था, तो राष्ट्रीय ध्वज का अपमान करवा बदल पर एमने विरुद्ध गुना दाखिल था।
हम टिकट मैच देखने आए, यहाँ विरोध करने नहीं आए। बहुत लोग आए सिर्फ हिंदुस्तान को जिताने के, उनके सपोर्ट में आए।
Hardik will be produced before a local court later. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Time for us to take a very quick break. On the other side, lots more coming up, so do stay tuned.
Political slugfest intensifies in Bihar. Regional leaders fight a do-or-die battle. Who wins Bihar and who loses relevance? Watch Verdict 2015 on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching the Breakfast News. Now, at least 11 people have been killed and thousands displaced as Typhoon Koppo swept through northern Philippines. Heavy rainfall has caused floods in the region as well. Officials have deployed troops to help residents trapped on rooftops. Meanwhile, the Japanese Met Agency has downgraded Typhoon Koppo to a severe tropical storm, but the Philippines Weather Agency said that it is still turning into a typhoon.
A weakened Typhoon Koppo continues to batter northern Philippines. Devastation is evident as heavy rains and powerful winds destroyed crops, damaged roads and bridges, and displaced tens of thousands. Floodwaters forced people to clamber onto rooftops. Officials fear that the death toll might go up as several still remain missing.
The most worst flood in the history of our community. I'm already 52, but this is the worst flood that I witnessed in my entire life.
Hindi nga namin malaman kung paano mabubuhay nito. Alang pagkukunan ng malaking epekto sa amin ito dahil yung mga bukid, isa pa na nangasira, nalubog, mga sumasapaw.
Troops are on their feet to rescue those trapped, but most of them were unable to reach some areas of the inundated town. Floodwaters are also preventing military vehicles from reaching many of the worst-hit villages. Over 71,000 people have sought shelter in evacuation centers.
Ang immediate need na nakikita namin para sa mga LGUs, ito yung search, rescue, retrieval. So naka-activate na yung cluster natin dyan. And yung sa food para makatulong dun sa mga assistant, makapagbigay ng maayos na assistance. Lalong-lalo na dun sa mga LGUs na nagpa-evacuate ng kanilang mga constituents.
Typhoon Koppo has been downgraded to a Category 1 typhoon from Category 4. But Philippines Weather Department said the slow-moving nature of Koppo suggests that heavy rain will fall for longer than usual, bringing greater risk of flooding and landslides. It's the second strongest storm to hit the archipelago this year. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif is on a 4-day visit to the United States for talks with the US President Barack Obama. Afghanistan peace is expected to top their agenda, especially at a time when the US has once again delayed the troop withdrawal from the region, citing the Taliban threat. The White House said that the talks will focus on US-Pakistan ties and will provide an opportunity to strengthen cooperation on issues of mutual concern, including economic growth, trade and investment, clean energy, global health, climate change, nuclear security, counter-terrorism and regional stability. Just a week before, Pakistan's Interior Ministry had said that Sharif will also raise the issue of the stalled India-Pakistan peace talks with Obama. Pakistan had repeatedly said that a dialogue with India on Kashmir is not possible without including separatists. Sharif will meet Obama on the 22nd of October.
To the Iranian foreign minister.
The Chinese President Xi Jinping arrived in London on a 4-day visit to the United Kingdom. Xi and his wife were greeted by the British Foreign Minister Philip Hammond upon arrival. They will be meeting members of the royal family and leading politicians during their visit. The UK Prime Minister David Cameron has hailed it as a golden era in ties between the two countries and expect to seal a host of business deals. Cameron said he would also raise the impact of cheap Chinese steel imports on Britain's struggling steel makers with his counterpart. But the visit has already been heavily criticized by human rights activists, accusing Cameron of turning a blind eye to abuses. Activists are demanding that Cameron press Beijing openly on issues like Tibet and repression of Chinese citizens.
Will we raise it with the Chinese? Of course, we'll raise all these issues. I mean, that is what our relationship with China is all about. It is at such a high level that there's no subject off the table, and all of these issues, including the steel industry, of course, will be discussed.
Nobody here, certainly not Human Rights Watch, is against dialogues between political leaders. Of course, that has to happen. And we're not against trade, and we're not against investment. But I think it is deeply disturbing that the British government appears to be saying this week that it just wants to talk about trade, and it just wants to talk about investment. And moral issues and human rights concerns and solidarity with the people suffering at the hands of the Chinese state is shunted to one side.
Now, Canada looks set for political change as the fiercely contested parliamentary polls show a late surge by Liberal Justin Trudeau. Incumbent Conservative Prime Minister Stephen Harper is fighting for a rare fourth term. But the 43-year-old Justin, son of former Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, has emerged as the frontrunner in the polls that could give Canada their first new leader in nearly 10 years. The left-leaning New Democratic Party could also play a decisive role. Opinion polls suggest it's a three-way split. That means it will be hard for either the Conservatives or the centre-left Liberals to win a majority. Harper's portrayed himself as a steady hand that can steer Canada's troubled economy back on track. If he wins, Trudeau has promised to follow a more multilateral approach on the global stage than Harper and repair Canada's relationship with the United States. The United Nations' bid to decriminalize the possession and use of all drugs for personal consumption has been foiled after at least one country blocked the move. The radical call by the UN's Office on Drug and Crime was due to be released in a paper clearly stating the UN's shift in stand. The document, which was leaked, recommends that UN members consider legalizing drug and possession for personal consumption. The document sought to promote a health and human rights approach to drug policy. The UNODC paper also suggests low-level dealing should not be a criminal offence, but should receive rehabilitation opportunities, social support and care. But the paper has been withdrawn after pressure from at least one member country. Drug possession is a criminal offence in many member states, including the United Kingdom. Other UN agencies, including the WHO and UNAIDS, too, have been explicit in their opposition to drug users facing criminal sanctions. The future of the UNODC document is unclear. Sources within suggest that it would require a wider consultation and agreement before the paper's recommendations become formal policy. Time now to take a look at other developments making news around the world in World Wrap. In a surprise move, Croatia has opened its borders with Serbia, removing one of the bottlenecks for thousands of stranded migrants making their way north. Croatian buses are now taking the migrants to a nearby reception center. Many remain stranded near the Croatia-Slovenia border as the Balkan route has been squeezed by restrictions. The UNHCR has described the conditions as dire. A government offensive in Aleppo in the past 3 days forced tens of thousands of Syrians to flee the city. At least 70,000 people were seen on the move in the countryside south of Aleppo with no shelter or medical support. Most of the villages in the south of Aleppo are now empty. This is the latest government offensive launched with Russian air support in the last 2 weeks. The similar situation is in the cities of Homs and Hama, and in the north in the city of Latakia. Russia's growing military presence from the Baltics to Syria has prompted NATO and its allies to open the largest military exercise in more than a decade. They're showcasing their strengths at an airbase in Trapani, central Mediterranean. NATO said that the situation is far more unstable and potentially dangerous in the region, but the defense is rock solid. NATO said that the Trident Juncture exercises and the testing of a new rapid reaction force should send a clear message to any aggressor and act as a deterrent. Hospitals say that the condition of the Scottish nurse who contracted Ebola while working in West Africa has improved. Pauline Kafake was readmitted to a specialist isolation unit at the Royal Free Hospital in London this month. Doctors say her condition is now serious but stable. She was being treated for complications after test shows the infection was still present in her system. Now, top focus from the world of sports. South African Olympic and Paralympic athlete Oscar Pistorius was released on parole on Monday, just short of a year into his 5-year sentence for killing his girlfriend Reeva Steenkamp. But the disgraced Paralympic gold medalist must serve the rest of his sentence under house arrest and still has to face an appeal by prosecutors who argue that he should have been convicted of murder rather than culpable homicide. Pistorius was found guilty of the lesser charge when he fired 4 shots through a locked bathroom door and hit Steenkamp. Will be confided to his uncle Arnold's home in a wealthy suburb in the capital, Pretoria. The athlete, whose lower legs were amputated when he was a baby, will be freed in line with South African sentencing guidelines that say non-dangerous prisoners should spend only 1/6 of custodial sentence behind bars. The Department of Correctional Services said Pistorius' parole conditions include the gun enthusiast must undergo psychotherapy and is not allowed possessing a gun. Time now for all the other sports action in SportsBeat. All-rounder Ravindra Jadeja has been recalled into India's squad in place of spinner Harbhajan Singh for the next month's first 2 tests against South Africa. The BCCI said this on Monday. Left-arm spinner Jadeja, dropped for the recent series in Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, has been in prime domestic form, picking up 24 wickets in 2 matches in first-class cricket. The left-handed batsman also scored 91 and 58 in 2 innings. The ICC on Monday withdrew Pakistan umpire Ali Imdad from officiating in the remaining 2 matches of the ongoing one-day series between India and South Africa. The decision came in the wake of Shiv Sena's protest forcing cancellation of talks between BCCI Chief Shashank Manohar and PCB Chief Shahryar Khan. Dar, a member of the elite panel of ICC umpires, had officiated in the first 3 matches and was scheduled to umpire in the 4th and 5th one-dayers in Chennai and Mumbai. Bate Borisov are hoping to avoid a repeat of their loss to Barcelona ahead of the next Champions League group stage. Bate lost 5-0 to their Group E rivals in an encounter in 2012. Bate managed to gain 2 points in Group E with a 3-1 victory over Roma after losing their opening game 4-1 at Bayern Leverkusen. In fact, Barcelona leads the Group E with 4 points. Chelsea enjoyed a somewhat fortuitous return to winning ways when they beat Aston Villa on Saturday, but their fragile self-confidence will face a far more severe test at Dynamo Kiev in the Champions League on Tuesday. After their worst start to a domestic league season for 37 years, Jose Mourinho's men will travel to Ukraine for their Group G qualifier, having won 1 and lost 1 of their 2 games. Dynamo topped the section with 4 points, the same as Porto, followed by Chelsea on 3 and Maccabi Tel Aviv on 0. FIFA's executive committee are holding an emergency meeting in Zurich after outgoing President Sepp Blatter and UEFA Chief Michel Platini were handed 90-day suspensions by the soccer's governing body amid corruption allegations. The emergency meeting may lead to the postponement of the presidential election, currently scheduled to take place on the 26th of February 2016. Well, that's all from us. Goodbye.